Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez. Picture yourself in a dark alley. A stranger steps out from the shadows, presses something cold against your side, and whispers those chilling words, your money or your life. What's your move? Easy choice, right? You toss them your wallet without a second thought. Because obviously, your life matters way more than whatever cash you've got on you. But here's the twist that'll keep you up at night. What if we're all making the opposite choice every single day? What if, without even realizing it, we're constantly trading our lives for money? We exchange precious hours we'll never get back for a paycheck. We sacrifice our health, our relationships, that spark of joy we used to have, all for a job. We tell ourselves we're making a living, but if we're being brutally honest, so many of us are actually making a dying. That's the mind-bending insight that sits at the core of one of the most life-altering books ever written about money, Your Money or Your Life. Created by Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez, this isn't your typical cut coupons and balance your checkbook kind of book. Actually, it's barely about that stuff at all. This is a completely new way of thinking about money, a philosophy that's quietly ignited a worldwide movement. It's sold nearly 1 million copies, been translated into 10 languages, and many credit it as the spark that lit the entire financial independence, retire early movement, or FIRE for short. And Joe Dominguez? He didn't just write about this stuff from an ivory tower. This guy was a hotshot financial analyst on Wall Street who actually followed the 9 steps in his own book and did something absolutely wild. He retired at 31 years old. For the rest of his days, right up until he passed away in 1997, he volunteered full-time and never accepted another dollar for his work. So what did he figure out? What's the secret that let him walk away from the financial game decades before anyone thought it was possible? That's exactly what we're diving into today, and I guarantee you by the time we're done, you'll see money in a completely different light. You'll realize that the path to financial freedom isn't about grinding harder or hitting it big in the stock market. It's about understanding the real, hidden price of every dollar you spend, your own life energy. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Most of us are stuck on this financial hamster wheel. We wake up, drag ourselves to work, come home exhausted, spend money trying to feel human again, and then wake up the next morning to repeat the whole cycle. We're following this ancient, outdated money map drawn during the Industrial Revolution, one that tells us to work 9 to 5 until we're 65, trust that some company will look after us, and always, always chase a higher standard of living. But here's the thing, that map is completely broken. The authors start with a simple but kind of devastating observation. For most of us, this endless chase isn't actually making us any happier. They surveyed over 1,000 people, asking them to rate their happiness on a scale of 1 to 5. Whether someone was scraping by on less than $1,500 a month or rolling in over $6,000, the average happiness score was always the same, barely a 3 out of 5. Not even pretty good, just sort of existing. Then they asked these same folks, how much more money would it take to make you happy? And guess what? Everyone said the same thing, about 50 to 100% more than what they currently had. See the trap? We live in a culture screaming more is better, but the truth is more is like the horizon. You can walk toward it forever, but you'll never reach it. Once you get the more you thought you needed, you're still operating from that same belief, so the new more you just got still isn't enough. It's a game with no finish line. This endless treadmill is what the book calls making a dying. Think about your own life. Do you come home from work with more energy, more joy, more life than when you left in the morning? Or does your job drain the best parts of you, leaving you so wiped out that you need your entire evening and weekend just to recover? For so many people, our jobs aren't just what we do anymore. They've become who we are. When someone asks, what do you do? We don't say, I practice law. We say, I am a lawyer. We've confused our job with our entire identity. So how do we escape this merry-go-round? The book's answer is a complete shift in how we see things. It asks us to stop thinking about money as dollars and cents and start seeing it for what it really is. This is the core, the absolute beating heart of the entire philosophy. Money is something you choose to trade your life energy for. Let that really land for a second. Your life energy is your time on this planet. It's the limited, precious, never getting it back hours of your one life. When you go to work, you're literally trading hours of your life for a paycheck. So money isn't just paper. It's not just digits on a screen. Money is your life energy. Once you truly get this, everything shifts. That $100 sweater isn't just $100 anymore. It's 5 hours of your life. A $40,000 car isn't just 40 grand. It might represent 2, 3, maybe even 4 years of your life energy. Suddenly the question changes from, can I afford this, to, is this worth my life? Is this sweater, this car, this dinner, worth the precious hours I'll never get back? This single idea is what unlocks the entire 9-step program. And here's the beautiful part. The program isn't about deprivation or turning into some extreme penny pincher. It's about waking up. It's about making sure your spending actually lines up with what genuinely brings you fulfillment and joy. The journey starts with a brave, honest look in the mirror. Step 1 is called Making Peace with the Past, and it has 2 parts. First, you calculate how much money you've earned in your entire lifetime, from that first paper route or babysitting gig to your most recent paycheck. For most people, this number is shockingly high. It's this powerful moment when you realize just how much life energy has already flowed through your hands. The second part is equally eye-opening. You create a personal balance sheet, listing everything you own, your assets, and everything you owe, your liabilities. Then you subtract your debts from your assets to find your true net worth. The question the book poses is simple but pointed. What have you got to show for it? For all that life energy you've poured into earning money, what's actually left? For many people, this moment stings a little. But the book is gentle here. It gives you a mantra to carry throughout this journey. No shame, no blame. This isn't about beating yourself up over the past. It's about establishing ground zero. It's about clearing the fog so you can finally see exactly where you are, right now. Once you've made peace with the past, the next step is getting radically present. This is where you start tracking your life energy in real time. It begins with one of the most eye-opening exercises in the whole book, calculating your real hourly wage. You might think you know what you make per hour, but the book pushes you to look deeper. It asks you to add up all the hidden time and money costs that come with your job. Think about your commute, the time stuck in traffic, and the money for gas and car maintenance. Think about your work clothes, what the book hilariously calls costuming. The suits, the uniforms, those uncomfortable shoes you'd never wear on a Saturday. Think about those pricey lunches you grab because you're too busy to pack something. Or the takeout dinners you order because you're too exhausted to cook. Think about the time you need to decompress after a brutal day, or the escape entertainment you need on weekends just to mentally recover from work. When you add up all these extra hours and subtract all these extra costs from your paycheck, you arrive at a number that's often shockingly low. That supposed $30 an hour job, it might actually be paying you closer to $12 an hour. This isn't just some accounting trick. It's a moment of serious clarity. It forces you to ask yourself, am I really willing to sell an hour of my life for this? With this new, honest number in hand, you're ready for the practice that'll become the foundation of your new financial life, tracking every single cent that comes into or goes out of your life. Now, this might sound like budgeting, but it's not. The book is super clear about this. Budgets, like diets, fail for most people because they're built on deprivation and willpower. They ask you to fight your own desires. This practice is different. It's not about restriction. It's about awareness. You don't have to change anything at first. You just have to watch. You carry a little notebook and write down everything. That 75-cent candy bar, that $4 coffee, that $1.50 bridge toll, everything. Why every penny? because it forces you to be conscious. It stops the mindless, autopilot spending that drains so much of our life energy. It's almost like a form of meditation, a spiritual practice where instead of watching your breath, you're watching your money. At the end of the month, you take all this raw data and organize it. This is step 3, the monthly tabulation. But you don't use those boring generic categories like food or transportation. You create categories that tell the actual story of your life. Maybe you have a category for junk food I eat when I'm stressed, or books I buy but never read, or things I buy to impress people. You get brutally honest, because this table is a mirror reflecting your actual life, not the life you wish you had. And then comes the magic. You take the dollar total for each category and convert it into the most meaningful currency you have, hours of your life energy. You use that real hourly wage you calculated in step 2. Suddenly, that $150 you spent on dinners out because I was too tired to cook isn't just $150. It's 12.5 hours of your life. That's almost 2 full workdays you spent just to avoid cooking. Seeing your spending laid out in hours of your life is absolutely game-changing. It's no longer some abstract concept. It's real. And this leads to step 4, what the authors call the heart of the entire transformation. You ask yourself 3 simple questions for every single category on your monthly table. Question 1. Did I receive fulfillment, satisfaction, and value in proportion to the life energy I spent? You mark each category with a plus sign if you felt great about the spending, a minus if it wasn't worth it, or a 0 if it was just meh. This is where you discover your Gazingas pins, those little things you buy compulsively that don't actually make you happy. This question helps you develop an internal yardstick for enough. This is where you discover what the book calls the fulfillment curve. The idea is beautifully simple. When we have very little, spending more money brings a huge boost in fulfillment. Getting basic food, shelter, and clothing feels amazing. Then we add some comforts, and that feels pretty good too. But eventually, we hit a peak, a point of enough. Beyond that peak, every dollar we spend, every possession we add, actually starts to decrease our fulfillment. It just becomes clutter. It weighs us down, complicates our lives, and costs us precious life energy to maintain. The goal is finding the peak of that curve for yourself. Question 2. Is this expenditure of life energy in alignment with my values and my life purpose? This question forces you to confront the gap between what you say you care about and where your life energy is actually going. If you say you value your health but you're spending 15 hours of life energy a month on fast food and only 2 on exercise, this question will shine a bright, uncomfortable spotlight on that disconnect. It's about achieving what the book calls financial integrity, where your financial life actually harmonizes with your deepest values. And finally, question 3. How might this expenditure change if I didn't have to work for a living? This question is like a doorway to a whole new possibility. It gets you thinking about a life beyond your job. Would you still need all those expensive suits? Would you still spend so much on commuting? Would you still need those fancy escape vacations? This question plants the seed of what a life of real freedom could actually look like. As you do this month after month, something remarkable starts happening. Without trying, without budgeting, without feeling deprived, your spending naturally begins to drop. Those categories you marked with a minus just become less appealing. You're not forcing yourself to stop. You just don't want to trade your life energy for stuff that doesn't bring you fulfillment anymore. The authors found that most people who follow the program naturally lower their expenses by about 20 to 25% in the first 6 months, and they report being happier. To see this progress, you move to step 5, making life energy visible. You create a big wall chart and hang it somewhere you'll see it every single day. On this chart, you plot 2 lines each month, one for your total monthly income and one for your total monthly expenses. At first, for many folks, the expense line sits higher than the income line. But as you continue the program, a gap starts to form. Your income stays the same or, as we'll see, even goes up, while your expense line trends downward. That gap between the two lines has a beautiful name: savings. This is where the dream of freedom starts becoming mathematical reality. Step 6 is about mastering the art of frugality. But the book redefines frugality in this gorgeous way. It's not about being cheap. The word frugal actually comes from the Latin root frux, meaning fruit or value, and frui, meaning to enjoy. So being frugal means enjoying what you have. It means having a high joy-to-stuff ratio. It's about squeezing the maximum fulfillment from every unit of your life energy. This leads us to step 7, valuing your life energy by maximizing your income. This might sound contradictory. If we're trying to work less, why would we try to earn more? Here, the book introduces another crucial distinction: the difference between work and paid employment. Your work is your life's purpose: raising your family, creating art, contributing to your community. It's the stuff you do for love. Paid employment, on the other hand, has only one purpose: to get paid. When you separate the two, you're liberated. You no longer need your job to give you identity or purpose. Its only job is providing you with money. And since you're trading your precious life energy for that money, it only makes sense to get the highest possible wage for it, as long as it's consistent with your health and integrity. Why? Because the more you earn per hour, the fewer hours you have to trade. If you need $2,000 a month to live, and you make $20 an hour, you have to work 100 hours. If you make $40 an hour, you only have to work 50 hours. You've just bought yourself 50 hours of life back. This is where everything clicks together. As you lower your expenses through conscious spending, and you maximize your income by valuing your time, that gap on your wall chart between income and expenses gets wider and wider. The savings you generate aren't just savings anymore. They become what the book calls capital. Capital is money that works for you, money that makes more money. This brings us to step 8, the crossover point. Each month, you add a third line to your wall chart: your monthly investment income. This is the income your capital is generating, completely independent of your job. At first, this line is tiny, barely lifting off the bottom of the chart. But as your capital grows, and as you reinvest the income it generates, that line begins curving upward, faster and faster, thanks to the magic of compound interest. And then, one day, you'll see it. You can project that rising investment income line into the future. You can project your stable, low expense line into the future. And you'll see a point on your chart, maybe just a few years away, where those two lines will cross. That's the crossover point. It's the moment when the income from your investments is enough to cover your monthly expenses forever. At that moment, you're financially independent. You never have to work for money again. The final step, step 9, is about managing your finances for the long haul. It's about becoming a knowledgeable and sophisticated steward of the capital that's bought you your freedom. The book recommends a very conservative strategy, focusing on safe, reliable, income-producing investments like government bonds. The goal isn't getting rich. The goal is protecting your capital and ensuring a steady, predictable income for life, an income that's enough. This is the path. It's not some get-rich-quick scheme. It's a guaranteed, step-by-step process of transforming your relationship with money, and in doing so, reclaiming your life. It starts with a simple question and ends with a lifetime of freedom. When you really sit with the central message of your money or your life, it's so simple it's almost revolutionary. Money is your life energy. That's it. It's not about complicated spreadsheets, hot stock tips, or complex financial wizardry. It's about recognizing that every dollar passing through your hands represents a piece of your one precious life. And when you see it that way, you can't help but become more mindful, more intentional, and way more protective of that life energy. This book packs a punch because it doesn't tell you what to do. It doesn't scold you to stop buying lattes or ditch your car. Instead, it gives you a framework for discovering what you actually value. Those 3 questions act like a compass, constantly pointing you back to your own internal sense of fulfillment and purpose. In a world constantly trying to sell us happiness in a box, this book offers a different route. It suggests that true wealth isn't about having more, but about needing less. It's the deep peace that comes from knowing you have enough. It's a quiet confidence that your life is built on a foundation of your own values, not society's expectations or some advertiser's dream. What's most beautiful about this philosophy is that the ultimate goal isn't just quitting your job. Financial independence isn't the finish line, it's the starting line. It's the freedom to finally do your real work, the work you do for love, not money. It's the freedom to volunteer, to create, to learn, to spend time with family, to contribute to your community, to build a life rich in meaning, not just dollars. So how can you start putting this profound wisdom into practice today? Here are 3 small things you can do. First, for just the next 7 days, try tracking every penny you spend. Don't judge it, don't change anything. Just carry a small notebook and write it all down. See what it feels like to bring that level of awareness to your financial life. Second, carve out 15 minutes and try calculating your real hourly wage. Be brutally honest about the hidden costs of your job, the commute, the clothes, the stress-related spending. The answer might shock you, and that shock can be the beginning of something powerful. And third, ask yourself that potent question from the book. If I didn't have to work for a living, what would I do with my time? Don't hold back. Let yourself dream. This simple act can reconnect you with a part of yourself you might have forgotten and remind you what you're truly working for. That was a summary of Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez. We've explored the core ideas today, but here's the truth. A summary is like looking at a map of a beautiful country. The map helps, but it's no substitute for actually walking those trails yourself. The real magic happens when you read the book. It's in those quiet moments when a particular story or simple phrase resonates with you in a way you didn't expect. This summary is designed to help you decide if this journey is one you want to take. If anything we've talked about today has sparked something in you, I really encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning. It's an experience that can genuinely transform how you see your life, your time, and what it truly means to be free. You can find a link to the book in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It lets me know this work is making a difference, and it ensures you won't miss our next deep dive into another life-changing book. Let's keep learning and growing together.